I really don't get why people are so obsessed with the 90s nowadays. I mean, they weren't that great, except for the fact that they gave us this, or this, or this. Actually, the 90s were pretty awesome. So, for this review, I'm talking about the movie Dope, which follows these three high school teenagers who are living in the ghetto and also living in the 90s, but not quite in the literal sense. This movie takes place during the modern day, but the main characters are just obsessed with 90s culture, the music, the television, the fashion, everything. But as for the actual plot of this movie, it's pretty complicated. To put it as simply as possible, though, one of these teenagers, who's pretty much the main character of the movie, falls for a pretty face, shit goes awry, and he eventually becomes a drug dealer. As was the case with Cop Car, this movie was a lot funnier than I expected. I went in thinking that it was going to be more of a drama, but I'd say it qualifies as a straight up comedy. There are a couple of serious moments here and there, but given the way that the story goes and how fleshed out the characters are, I'd say it feels very earned. Also, the three leads in this movie are supposed to be geeks, which I would have readily criticized given how charismatic and confident they are, but I love how the movie establishes their situation at the beginning and makes it a little easier to understand for ignorant people such as myself. At the beginning of this movie, there's a narrator who introduces you to each of the three leads and explains to you what their situation is in life and what their environment is like. And my favorite part about this is how it just sets up the mood for the picture, how it's going to be very funny, but also very honest and realistic at the same time. Like, there's a moment during the intro where you see something horrible and tragic happen, and then right after that, the narrator cracks a joke about it, and it doesn't even come off as tasteless. It's actually pretty funny. Now, my only complaint with this movie is that despite the fact that I just mentioned how real and honest it felt, it didn't feel like there was enough conflict driving the plot forward. Like, there's this one situation involving a criminal who tries to come after the three kids and kill them. There's a lot of build up to this. The situation arises and then it just goes away. Also, I'd say that the ending to this movie is a little bit too clean, but at the same time, these are very minor nitpicks because, given the fact that the characters are so likable and the film itself is so entertaining, it very much makes up for these flaws. And I would say that if you're interested in seeing a feel good comedy with a touch of realism to it, then Dope definitely comes highly recommended. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about this movie. I hope y'all have a good one.